This is a Noetic recording of the Jewish Publication Society's The Book of Job. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was wholehearted and upright, and one that feared God and shunned evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His possessions also were 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the children of the east. And his sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one upon his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be
that my sons have sinned and blasphemed God in their hearts."
Thus did Job continually. Now it fell upon a day that the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, "Whence comest thou?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said,
"From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it."
And the Lord said unto Satan, "Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a wholehearted and upright man, one that feareth God and shunneth evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said,
"Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou made a hedge about him, and about his house, and all about that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions are increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he hath. Surely he will blaspheme thee to thy face."
And the Lord said unto Satan, "Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thy hand." So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And it fell on a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, that there came a messenger unto Job and said,
The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sebans made a raid and took them away. They have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said,
A fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said,
The Chaldeans set themselves in 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have taken them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said,
Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from across the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And he said,
Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
For all this Job sinned not, nor ascribed aught unseemly to God. After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spoke and said,
Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night wherein it was said, A man-child is brought forth. Let that day be darkness. Let not God inquire after it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death claim it for their own. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let all that maketh black the day terrify it. As for that night, let thick darkness shine upon it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be desolate. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it, curse that day, who are ready to rose up Leviathan. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it behold the eyelids of the morning. Because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid trouble from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not perish at birth? Why did the knees receive me, and wherefore the breasts that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept. Then had I been at rest, with kings and counselors of the earth, who built up waste places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or as a hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants that never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners are at ease together, they hear not the voice of the taskmaker. The small and great are there alike, and the servant is free from his master. Wherewith is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, who long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, who rejoice unto exhalation, and are glad where they can find the grave. To a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in. For my sighing cometh instead of my food, and my roarings are poured out like water. For the thing which I did fear is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of hath overtaken me. I was not at ease, neither was I quiet, neither had I rest, but trouble came.
Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said,
If one venture a word unto thee, wilt thou be weary? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Thy words have upholden him that was falling, and thou hast strengthened the feeble knees. But now it is come upon thee, and thou art weary, it toucheth thee, and thou art affrighted. Is it not thy fear of God, thy confidence, and thy hope, the integrity of thy ways? Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the upright cut off, according as I have seen that the plough iniquity, and the sow mischief reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, and by the blast of his anger they are consumed. The lion roareth, and the fierce lion howleth, yet the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perisheth for lack of prey, and the whelps of the lioness are scattered abroad. Now a word was secretly brought to me, and mine ear received a whisper thereof. In thoughts from the visions of the night, when deep sleep fallen upon men, fear came upon me in trembling, and all my bones were made to shake. Then a spirit passed before my face that made the hair of my flesh stand up. It stood still, but I could not discern the appearance thereof. A form was before mine eyes. I heard a still voice. Shall mortal man be just before God? Shall a man be pure before his Maker? Behold, he putteth no trust in his servants, and his angels he chargeth with folly. How much more that dwell in houses of clay, whose foundations is in the dust, who are crushed before the moth, betwixt morning and evening they are shattered. They perish forever without any regarding of it. Is it not their tent cord plucked up within them? They die, and that without wisdom. Call now, is there any that will answer thee? And to which of the holy ones wilt thou turn? For anger killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. I have seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I beheld his habitation cursed. His children are far from safety, and are crushed in the gate with none to deliver them. Whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorns, and the snare gapeth for their substance. For affliction cometh not forth from the dust, neither doth trouble spring out of the ground. But man is born unto trouble as the sparks fly upward. But as for me, I would seek unto God, and unto God I would commit my cause. Who doeth great things and unsearchable marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth waters upon the fields, so that he setteth up on high those are low, and those that mourn are exalted to safety. He frustrateth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands can perform nothing substantial. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the wily is carried headlong. They meet with the darkness in the daytime, and group at noonday as in the night. but he saveth from the sword of their mouth even the needy of the hand of the mighty. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore and bindeth up, he woundeth, and his hands make whole. He will deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he will redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tent is in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation, and thou shalt miss nothing. Thou shalt also know that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth. Thou shalt come to thy grave in a ripe age, like as a shock of corn cometh in its season. Lo, this we have searched it, so it is. Hear it, and know thou it for thy good.
Then Job answered and said,
Oh, that my vexation were but weighed, and my calamity laid in the balances altogether. For now it would be heavier than the sands of the sea. Therefore are my words broken. For the arrows of the Almighty are within me. The poison whereof my spirit drinketh up. The terrors of God do set themselves in array against me. Doth the wild ass bray when he hath grass, or loweth the ox over his fodder? Can that which hath no savour be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the juice of mallows? My soul refuseth to touch them. They are as the sickness of my flesh. Oh, that I might have my request, and that God would grant me the thing that I long for. Even that it would please God to crush me, that he would let loose his hand and cut me off. Then should I yet have comfort, yea, I would exult in pain, though he spare not, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. What is my strength that I should wait, and what is mine end that I should be patient? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh of brass? Is it that I have no help in me, and that sound wisdom is driven quite from me? To him that is ready to faint kindness is due from his friend, even to him that forsaketh the fear of the Almighty. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook, as the channel of brooks that overflow, which are black by reason of the ice, and wherein the snow hideth itself. What time they wax warm, they vanish when it is hot. They are consumed out of their place. The paths of their way do wind. They go up into the waste, and are lost. The caverns of Tema looked. The companies of Sheba waited for them. They were ashamed because they had hoped. They came thither and were confounded. For now ye are become his. Ye see a terror and are afraid. Did I say, Give unto me, or offer a present for me of your substance? Or deliver me from the adversary's hand, or redeem me from the hand of the oppressors? Teach me, and I will hold my peace, and cause me to understand wherein I have erred. How forcible are words of uprightness, but what doth your arguing argue? Do ye hold words to be an argument, but the speeches of one that is desperate to be wind? Ye would cast lots upon the fatherless, and dig a pit for your friend. Now therefore be pleased to look upon me, for surely I shall not lie to your face. Return, I pray you. Let there be no injustice. Ye return again. My cause is righteous. Is there injustice on my tongue? Cannot my taste discern crafty devices? Is there not a time of service to man upon earth? And are not his days like the days of a hireling? As a servant that eagerly longeth for the shadow, and as a hireling that looketh for his wages, so am I made to possess. Months of vanity and wearisome nights are appointed to me. When I lay down, I say, When shall I arise? But the night is long, and I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. My flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust. My skin clotheth up and breaketh out afresh. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and are spent without hope. O remember that my life is a breath. Mine eyes shall no more see good. The eye of him that seeth me shall behold me no more. While thine eyes are upon me, I am gone. As the cloud is consumed and vanisheth away, so that he goeth down to the grave, shall come up no more. He shall return no more to his house, neither shall his place know him any more. Therefore I will not refrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I a sea or a sea monster, that thou settest a watch over me? When I say, my bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaint, then thou scarest me with dreams, and terrifiest me through visions, so that my soul chooseth strangling and death rather than these my bones. I loathe it. I shall not live alay. Leave me alone, for my days are vanity. What is man, that thou shouldest magnify him, and that thou shouldest set thy heart upon him, and that thou shouldest remember him every morning, and try him every moment? How long wilt thou not look away from me, nor let me alone till I swallow my spittle? If I have sinned, what do I unto thee, O thou watcher of men? Why hast thou set as a mark for thee, so that I am a burden to myself? And why dost thou not pardon my transgression, and take away mine iniquity? For now shall I lie down in the dust, and thou wilt seek me, but I shall not be.
Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, and said,
How long wilt thou speak these things, seeing that the words of thy mouth are as a mighty wind? Doth God pervert judgment, or doth the Almighty prevent justice? If thy children sinned against him, he delivered them into the hand of their transgression. If thou wouldest seek earnestly unto God, and make thy supplication to the Almighty, if thou wert pure and upright, surely now he would awake for thee, and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. And though thy beginning was small, yet thine end should greatly increase. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former generation, and apply thyself to that which their fathers have searched out. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee, and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart? Can the rush shoot up without mire? Can the reed grass grow without water? Whilst it is yet in its greenness, and not cut down, it wear off before any other herb. So are the paths of all that forget God, and the hope of the godless man shall perish, whose confidence is gossamer, and whose trust is a spider's web. He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. He shall hold fast thereby, but it shall not endure. He is green before the sun, and his shoots go forth over his garden. His roots are wrapped about the heap. He beholdeth the place of stones. If he be destroyed from his place, then it shall deny him, I have not seen thee. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth shall others spring. Behold, God will not cast away an innocent man, neither will he uphold the evildoers, till he fill thy mouth with laughter, and thy lips with shouting. They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the tent of the wicked shall be no more.
Then Job answered and said,
Of a truth I know that it is so, and how can man be just with God? If one should desire to contend with him, he could not answer him 1 of 1,000. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength, who hath hardened himself against him, and prospered. Who removeth the mountains, and they know it not, when he overturneth them in his anger? Who shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tumble? Who commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars? Who alone stretcheth out the heavens, and trendeth upon the waves of the sea? Who maketh the bear, Orion, and the chambers of the south? Who doeth great things past finding out, ye marvelous things without number? Lo, he goeth by me, and I see him not. He passeth on also, but I perceive him not. Behold, he snatcheth away. Who can hinder him? Who will say unto him, What doest thou? God will not withdraw his anger. The helpers did stoop under him. How much less shall I answer him, and choose out my arguments with him? Whom, though I were righteous, yet would I not answer. I would make supplication to him that contendeth with me. If I had called, and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he would hearken unto my voice. He that would break me with a tempest, and multiply my wounds without cause, that would not suffer me to take my breath, but fill me with bitterness. If it be a matter of strength, lo, he is mighty, and if of justice, who will appoint me a time? Though I be righteous, mine own mouth shall condemn me. Though I be innocent, he shall prove me perverse. I am innocent, I regard not myself, I despise my life. It is all one, therefore I say, he destroyeth the innocent and the wicked. If the scourge slay suddenly, he will mock at the calamity of the guiltless. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If it be not he, who then is it? Now my days are swifter than a runner. They flee away, they see no good. They are passed away as the swift ships, as the vulture that swoopeth on the prey. If I say, I will forget my complaint, I will put off my sad countenance, and be of good cheer. I am afraid of all my pains. I know that thou wilt not hold me guiltless. I shall be condemned. Why then do I labor in vain? If I wash myself with snow water, and make my hands never so clean, yet thou wilt plunge me in the ditch, and mine own clothes shall abhor me. For he is not a man as I am, that I should answer him, that we should come together in judgment. There is no arbiter betwixt us that might lay his hand upon us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not his terror make me afraid. Then would I speak and not fear him, for I am not so with myself. My soul is weary of my life. I will give free course to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Make me know wherefore thou contendest with me. Is it good unto thee that thou shouldest oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thy hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as man seeth? Are thy days as the days of man, or thy years as a man's days, that thou inquirest after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin? Although thou knowest that I shall not be condemned, and there is none that can deliver me out of thy hand. Thy hands have framed me and fashioned me together round about, yet thou dost destroy me. Remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast fashioned me as clay, and wilt thou bring me into dust again? Hast thou not poured me out as milk, and curdled me like cheese? Hast thou clothed me with skin and flesh, and knit me together with bones and sinews? Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy providence hath preserved my spirit. Yet these things thou didst hide in thy heart. I know that this is with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me for mine iniquity. If I be wicked, woe unto me, and if I be righteous, yet shall I not lift up my head, being filled and looking upon mine affliction. And if it exalt itself, thou huntest me as a lion, and again thou showest thyself marvelous upon me. Thou renewest thy witnesses against me, and increaseth thine indignation against me, host succeeding host against me. Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Would that I had perished, and no eye had seen me. I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little, before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness, and of the shadow of death, a land of thick darkness, as darkness itself, a land of the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness.
Then answered Zophar the Naamathite, and said,
Should not the multitude of words be answered, and should a man full of talk be accounted right? Thy boastings have made men hold their peace, and thou hast mocked with none to make thee ashamed, and thou hast said, My doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thine eyes. But, oh, that God would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would tell thee, the servants, the secrets of wisdom, that sound wisdom is manifold. Know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. Canst thou find out the deep things of God? Canst thou attain unto the purpose of the Almighty? It is as high as heaven. What canst thou do deeper than the netherworld? What canst thou know? The measure thereof is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. If he pass by and shut up or gather in, then who can hinder him? For he knoweth base men, and he seeth iniquity. Will he not then consider it? But an empty man will get understanding when a wild ass's colt is born a man. If thou set thy heart aright and stretch out thy hands towards him, if iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away, and let not unrighteousness dwell in thy tents. Surely then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot, yea, thou shalt be steadfast, and shalt not fear, for thou shalt forget thy misery, thou shalt remember it as waters are passed away, and thy life shall be clearer than noonday. Though there be darkness, it shall be as the morning. And that shall be secure, because there is hope. Yea, thou shalt look about thee and shalt take thy rest in safety. Also thou shalt lie down, and none shall make thee afraid. Yea, many shall make suit unto thee, but the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall have no way to flee, and their hope shall be the drooping of the soul.
Then Job answered and said,
No doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you, ye who knowest not such things as these. I am as one that is a laughingstock to his neighbor, a man that called upon God, and he answered him. The just, the innocent man is a laughingstock, a contemptible brand in the thought of him that is at ease, a thing ready for them whose foot slippeth. The tents of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure, in whatsoever God bringeth into their hand. But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall teach thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee. Who knoweth not among all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this? In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind? Doth not the ear try words, even as the palate tasteth its food? Is wisdom with aged men, and understanding in length of days? With him is wisdom and might. He hath counsel and understanding. Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and sound wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leadeth counsels away stripped, and judges maketh he fools. He looseth the bond of kings, and bindeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth priests away stripped, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth the speech of man of trust, and taketh the sense of the elders. He poureth contempt upon princes, and looseth the belt of the strong. He uncovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations and destroyeth them. He enlarged the nations and leads them away. He taketh away the heart of the chiefs of the people of the land, and causes them to wander in a wilderness where there is no way. They grope in the light, in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. Lo, mine eye hath seen all this, mine ear hath heard and understand it. What ye know do I know also. I am not inferior unto you. Notwithstanding, I would speak to the Almighty, and I desire to reason with God. But ye are plasters of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. Oh, that ye would altogether hold your peace, and it would be wisdom. Hear now my reasoning, and hearken to the pleadings of my lips. Will ye speak unrighteously for God, and talk deceitfully for him? Will ye show him favor? Will ye contend for God? Would it be good that he should search you out? Or as one mocketh a man, will ye mock him? He will surely reprove you, if you secretly show favor. Shall not his majesty terrify you, and his dread fall upon you? Your memorials shall be like unto ashes, your eminences to eminences of clay. Hold your peace, let me alone that I may speak, and let come on me what will. Wherefore, I will take my flesh in my teeth, and put my life in my hand. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will argue my ways before him. This also shall be my salvation, that a hypocrite cannot come before him. Hear diligently my speech, and let my declaration be in your ears. Behold now, I have ordered my cause, I know that I shall be justified. Who is he that will contend with me? For then would I hold my peace and die. Only do not two things unto me, then will I not hide myself from thee. Withdraw thy hand far from me, and let not thy terror make me afraid. Then call thou, and I will answer, or let me speak, and answer thou me. How many are mine iniquities and sins? Make me to know my transgression and my sin. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest for thine enemy? Wilt thou harass a driven leaf, and wilt thou pursue the dry stubble? That thou shouldest write bitter things against me, and make me to inherit the iniquities of my youth. Thou puttest my feet also in the stocks, and look narrowly unto all my paths. Thou drawest thee a line about the soles of my feet. Though I am like a wineskin that consumeth, like a garment that is moth-eaten. Man that is born of a woman is a few days, and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower, and withereth. He fleeth also as a shadow, and continueth not. And dost thou open thine eyes upon such a one, and bringeth me into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months is with thee, and thou hast appointed his bonds that he cannot pass. Look away from him, that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as a hireling his day. For there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud. But man dieth and lieth low, yea, man perisheth, and where is he? As the waters fail from the sky, and the river is drained dry, so man lieth down and riseth not, till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake, nor be roused out of their sleep. O that thou wouldest hide me in the netherworld, that thou wouldest keep me secret until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldest appoint me a set time, and remember me. If a man die, may he live again. All the days of my service would I wait, till my relief should come. Thou wouldest call, and I would answer thee. Thou wouldest have a desire to the work of thy hands. But now thou numberest my steps, thou dost not even wait for my sin. My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou keepest up mine iniquity. And surely the mountain falling crumbleth away, and the rock is removed out of its place. The waters wear the stones, the overflowings thereof wash away the dust of the earth, so thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest for ever against him, and he passeth. Thou changest his countenance, and sendest him away. His sons come to honor, and he knoweth it not, and they are brought low, but he regardeth them not. But his flesh grieveth for them, and his soul mourneth over him.
Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said, Should a wise man make answer with windy knowledge, and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches wherewith he can do no good? Yea, thou doest away with fear, and impairest devotion before God. For thine iniquity teacheth thy mouth, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thy own lips testify against thee. Art thou the first man that was born? Or wast thou brought forth before the hills? Dost thou hearken in the counsel of God? And dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? What knowest thou that we know not? What understand thou which is not in us? With us are both the gray-headed and the very aged men, much older than thy father. Are the consolations of God too small for thee, and the word that dealeth gently with thee? Why doth thy heart carry thee away, and why do thy eyes wink? That thou turnest thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth. What is man that he should be clean? And he that is born of a woman that he should be righteous? Behold, he putteth no trust in his holy ones. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much less one that is abominable and impure, man who drinketh iniquity like water? I will tell thee, hear thou me, and that which I have seen I will declare. Which wise men have told from their fathers, and have not hid it? Unto whom alone the land was given, and no stranger passed among them. The wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, even the number of years that are laid up for the oppressor. A sound of terror is in his ears. In prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread. Where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Distress and anguish overwhelm him. They prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. Because he hath stretched out his hand against God, and behaveth himself proudly against the Almighty. He runneth upon him with a stiff neck, with the thick bosses of his bucklers. Because he hath covered his face with his fatness, and made collops of fat on his loins. And he hath dwelt in desolate cities, in houses which no man would inhabit, which were ready to become heaps. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall their produce bend to the earth. He shall not depart out of darkness. The flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let him not trust in vanity, deceiving himself, for vanity shall be his recompense. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be leafy. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the company of the godless shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tents of bribery. They conceive mischief, and bring forth iniquity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Then Job answered and said,
I have heard many such things. Sorry comforters are ye all. Shall windy words have an end, or what provoketh thee that thou answerest? I also could speak as ye do, if your soul were in my soul's stead. I could join words together against you, and shake my head at you. I would strengthen you with my mouth, and the moving of my lips would help your grief. Though I speak, my pain is not assisted, and though I forbear, what am I eased? But now he hath made me weary. Thou hast made desolate all my company, and thou hast shriveled me up, which is a witness against me, and my leanness riseth up against me. It testifieth to my face. He hath torn me in his wrath, and hated me. He hath gnashed upon me with his teeth. Mine adversary sharpeth his eyes upon me. They have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek scornfully. They gather themselves together against me. God delivereth me to the ungodly, and casteth me in the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, and he broke me asunder. Yea, he hath taken me by the neck, and dashed me to pieces. He hath also set me up for his mark. His archers compass me round about. He cleaveth my reins asunder, and doth not spare. He poureth out my gall upon the ground. He breaketh me with breach upon breach. He runneth upon me like a giant. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin, and have laid my horn in the dust. My face is reddeth with weeping, and my eyelids is the shadow of death. Although there is no violence in my hands, and my prayer is pure. O earth, cover not thou my blood, and let my cry have no resting place. Even now, behold, my witness is in heaven, and he that testifieth of me is on high. Mine inward thoughts are my intercessors. Mine eye poureth out tears unto God, that he would set aright a man contending with God, as the Son of Man setteth aright his neighbor. For the years that are few are coming on, and I shall go the way whence I shall not return. My spirit is consumed, my days are extinct, the grave is ready for me. Surely there are mockers with me, and mine eye abideth in their provocation. Give now a pledge, be surely for me with thyself. Who else is there that will strike hands with me? For thou hast hid their heart from understanding, therefore shalt thou not exalt them. He that denounceth his friends for the sake of flattery, even the eyes of his children shall fail. He hath made me also a byword of the people, and I am become one in whose face they spit. Mine eye is dimmed by reason of vexation, and all my members are as a shadow. Upright men are astonished at this, and the innocent stirreth up himself against the godless. Yet the righteous holdeth on his way, and he that hath clean hands waxeth stronger and stronger. But as for you all, do ye return, and come now, and I shall not find a wise man among you. My days are past, my purposes are broken off, even the thoughts of my heart. They change the night into day, the light is short because of darkness. If I look for the nether world as my horse, if I have spread my couch in the darkness, if I have said to corruption, Thou art my father, to the worm, Thou art my mother and my sister, when then is my hope? As for my hope, who shall see it? They shall go down to the bars of the nether world, where we are at rest together in the dust.
Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said,
How long will ye lay snares for words? Consider, and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed dull in your sight? Thou that tearest thyself in thine anger, shall the earth be forsaken for thee? Or shall the rock be moved out of its place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tent, and his lamp over him shall be put out. The steps of his strength shall be straitened, and his own counsel shall cast him out. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon the toils. A gin shall take him by the heel, and a snare shall lay hold on him. A noose is hid for him in the ground, and a trap for him is in the way. Terror shall overwhelm him on every side, and shall entrap him at his feet. His trouble shall be ravenous, and calamity shall be ready for his fall. It shall devour the members of his body, yea, the firstborn of death shall devour his members. That wherein he trusteth shall be plucked out of his tent, and he shall be brought to the king of terrors. There shall dwell in his tent that which is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His roots shall dry up beneath, and above shall his branch wither. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name abroad. He shall be driven from the light into darkness, and chased out of the world. He shall have neither son nor son among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. That they come after shall be astonished at his day, and that they went before are affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God.
Job answered and said,
How long will ye vex my soul, and crush me with words? These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye deal harshly with me. And be it indeed that I have erred, mine error remaineth with myself. And if indeed ye will magnify yourselves against me, and plead against me my reproach, know now that God hath subverted my case, and hath compassed me with his net. Behold, I cry out violence, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no justice. He hath fenced up my way that I cannot pass, and hath set darkness in my paths. He hath stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He hath broken me down on every side, and I am gone, and my hope hath he plucked up like a tree. He hath also kindled his wrath against me, and he counteth me unto him as one of his adversaries. His troops come on together, and cast up their way against me, and encamp round about my tent. He hath put my brethren far from me, and mine acquaintance are wholly estranged from me. My kinsfolk have failed, and my familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in my house and my maids count me for a stranger. I am become an alien in their sight. I call unto my servant, and he giveth me no answer, though I entreat him with my mouth. My breath is abhorred of my wife, and I am loathsome to the children of my tribe. Even urchins despise me. If I arise, they speak against me. All my intimate friends abhor me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God hath touched me. Why do ye prosecute me as God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were now written! Oh, that they were inscribed in a book! That with an iron pen and lead they were graven in the rock forever. But as for me, I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he will witness at the last upon the dust. And when after my skin this is destroyed, then without my flesh shall I see God, whom I, even I, shall see for myself, and mine eyes shall behold, and not another's. My reins are consumed within me. If ye say, How will we prosecute him, seeing that the root of the matter is found in me? Be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishments of the sword, that ye may know there is a judgment.
Then answered Zovar the Naamathite and said,
Therefore do my thoughts give answer to me, even by reason of mine agitation that is in me. I've heard upon the reproof which putteth me to shame, but out of my understanding my spirit answereth me. Knowest thou not of this old time, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and of the godless but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever, like his own dung, that they have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place of any more behold him. His children shall appease the poor, and his hands shall restore his wealth. His bones are full of youth, but it shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and will not let it go, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his food, his bowels is turned, and is the gall of asps within him. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asps, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not look upon the rivers, the flowing streams of honey and curd. That which he labored for shall he give back, and shall not swallow it down. According to the substance that he hath gotten, he shall not rejoice. For he hath oppressed and forsaken the poor, he hath violently taken away a house, and he shall not build it up. Because he knew no quietness within him, and his greed he suffered not to escape. There was nothing left that he devoured not, therefore his prosperity shall not endure. The fullness of his sufficiency shall be in straits, the hand of every one that is in misery shall come upon him. It shall, for the filling of his belly, he shall cast the fierceness of his wrath upon him, and shall cause it to rain upon him into his flesh. If he flee from the iron weapon, the bow of brass shall strike him through. He draweth it forth, and it cometh out of his body. Yea, the glittering point cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. All darkness is laid up for his treasures. A fire not blown by man shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tent. The heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. The increase of his house shall depart. His goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from God, and the heritage appointed unto him by God.
Then Job answered and said,
Hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consultations. Suffer me that I may speak, and after that I have spoken, mock on. As for me, is my complaint to man, or why should I not be impatient? Turn unto me and be astonished, and lay your head upon your mouth. Even when I remember, I am affrighted, and horror hath taken hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, mighty, wax in power? Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe without fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth and faileth not, their cow cleaveth and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the timbrel and harp, and rejoice at the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity, and peacefully they go down to the grave. Yet they said unto God, Depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their prosperity is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is it that the lamp of the wicked is put out, that their calamity cometh upon them, that he disturbeth pains in his anger, that they are as stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm stealeth away. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. Let him recompense it unto himself, that he may know it. Let his own eyes see his destruction, and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure hath he in his house after him, seeing the numbers of his months is determined? Shall any teach God knowledge, seeing it is he that judgeth those that are high? One dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. His pails are full of milk, and the marrow of his bones is moistened. And another dieth in bitterness of soul, and hath never tasted of good. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worm covereth them. Behold, I know your thoughts, and the devices which ye wrongfully imagine against me. For ye say, Where is the house of the prince? And where is the tent wherein the wicked dwelt? Have ye not asked them that go by the way? And will ye misdeem their tokens, that the evil man is reserved to the day of calamity, that they are led forth to the day of wrath? But who shall declare his way to his face? And who shall repay him what he hath done? For he is borne to the grave, and watch is kept over his tomb. The clods of the valley are sweet unto him, and all men draw after him, as they were innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain? And as for your answers, there remaineth only faithlessness?
Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said, Can a man be profitable unto God, or can he that is wise be profitable unto him? Is it any advantage to the Almighty that thou art righteous? Or is it gain to him that thou makest thy ways blameless? Is it for thy fear of him that he reproveth thee, that he entereth with thee into judgment? Is not thy wickedness great, and are not thine iniquities without end? For thou hast taken pledges of thy brother for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothing. Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry. And as a mighty man who hath the earth, and as a man of rank who dwelleth in it, thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been broken. Therefore snares are round about thee, and sudden dread affrighted thee, or darkness that thou canst not see, and abundance of waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold the topmost of the stars, how high they are. And thou sayest, what doth God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? The clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. Wilt thou keep the old way which wicked men have trodden, who were snatched away before their time, whose foundation was poured out as a stream, who said unto God, depart from us? And what could the Almighty do unto them? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous saw it and were glad, and the innocent laughed them to scorn. Surely their substance is cut off, and their abundance the fire hath consumed. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Thereby shall thine increase be good. Receive, I pray thee, instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in thy heart. If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up. If thou put away unrighteousness far from thy tents, and lay thy treasure in the dust, and the gold of Ophir among the stones of the brooks, and the Almighty be thy treasure, and precious silver unto thee, then surely shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and shalt lift up thy face unto God. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he will hear thee, and thou shalt pay thy vows. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and light shall shine upon thy ways. When they cast thee down, thou shalt say, there is lifting up. For the humble person he saveth. He delivereth him that is innocent. Yea, thou shalt be delivered through the cleanness of thy hands. Then Job answered and said,
even today is my complaint bitter. My hand is become heavy because of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would order my cause before him, and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand what he would say unto me. Would he contend with me in his great power? Nay, but he would give heed unto me. There the upright might reason with him, so should I be delivered forever from my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand, where he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He turneth himself to the right hand, but I cannot see him. For he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot hath held fast to his steps. His way have I kept, and turned not aside. I have not gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured up the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is at one with himself, and who can turn him? And what his soul desireth, even that he doeth. For he will perform that which is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. Therefore am I affrighted at his presence. When I consider, I am afraid of him. Yea, God hath made my heart faint, and the Almighty hath affrighted me, because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither did he cover the thick darkness from my face. Why are times not laid up by the Almighty, and why do they that know him see his days? There are that remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed them. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the wilderness they go forth to their work, seeking diligently for food. The desert yieldeth them bread for their children. They cut his provender in the field, and they despoil the vineyard of the wicked. They lie all night naked without clothing, and have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and embrace the rock for want of a shelter. There are that pluck the fatherless from the breast, and take a pledge of the poor, so that they go about naked without clothing. And being hungry, they carry the sheaves. They make oil within the rows of these men. They tread their winepresses and suffer thirst. From out of the populous city men groan, and the soul of the wounded crieth out. Yet God imputeth it now for unseemliness. They are of them that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murderer riseth with the light, to kill the poor and needy, and in the night he is as a thief. The eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, No eye shall see me, and he putteth a covering on his face. In the dark they dig through houses, they shut themselves up in the daytime, they know not the light. For the shadow of death is to all of them as the morning, for they know the terrors of the shadow of death. He is swift upon the face of the waters, their poison is cursed in the earth. He turneth not by the way of the vineyards. Drought and heat consume the snow waters, so doth the nether world those that have sinned. The womb forgetteth him, the worm feedeth sweetly on him. He shall be no more remembered, and unrighteousness is broken as a tree. He devoureth the barren that beareth not, and doth not good to the widow. He draweth away the mighty also by his power. He riseth up, and he trusteth not his own life. Though it be given him to be in safely, whereon he riseth, yet his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted for a little while, and they are gone, yea, they are brought low. They are gathered in as all others, and wither as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will prove me a liar, and make my speech nothing worth?
Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, and said,
Dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places. Is there any number of his armies? And upon who doth not his light arise? And how then can a man be just with God? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? Behold, even the moon hath no brightness, and the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less a man that is a worm, and the son of a man that is a maggot?
Then Job answered and said,
How hast thou helped him that is without power? How hast thou saved the arm that hath no strength? How hast thou consoled him that hath no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge? With whose help hast thou uttered words, and whose spirit came forth from thee? The shades tremble beneath the waters, and the inhabitants thereof. The nether world is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. He stretcheth out the north over the empty space, and hangeth the earth over nothing. He bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. He closeth in the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. He hath described a boundary upon the face of the waters, unto the confines of light and darkness. The pillars of heaven tremble, and are astonished at his rebuke. He stirreth up the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smiteth through Wahab. By his breath the heavens are serene. His hand hath pierced the slant serpent. Lo, these are but the outskirts of his ways, and how small a whisper is heard of him. But the thunder of his mighty deeds who can understand?
And Job again took up his parable and said,
As God liveth, who hath taken away my right, and the Almighty, who hath dealt bitterly with me, all the while my breath is in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. Surely my lips shall not speak unrighteousness, neither shall my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you. Till I die I will not put away mine integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast, and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Let mine enemy be as the wicked, and let him that riseth up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless, though he get him gain, when God taketh away his soul? Will God hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him? Will he have his delight in the Almighty, and call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God, that which is with the Almighty will I not conceal. Behold, all ye yourselves have seen it. Why then are ye become altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage of oppressors, which they receive from the Almighty. If his children be manipulated, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not have bread enough. Those that remain of him shall be buried by pestilence, and his widow shall make no lamentation. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He buildeth his house as a moth, and as a booth which the keeper maketh. He lieth down rich, but there shall be naught to gather. He openeth his eyes, and his wealth is not. Terrors overtake him like waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. The east wind carrieth him away, and he departeth, and it sweepeth him out of his place. Yea, it hurrieth at him, and spareth not. He would fain flee from its power. Men shall clap their hands at him, and shall hiss him out of his place. For there is a mine for silver, and a place for gold, which they refine. Iron is taken out of the dust, and brass is molten out of the stone. Men setteth an end to darkness, and searcheth out to the farthest bound the stones of thick darkness and of the shadow of death. He breaketh open a shaft away from where men sojourn. They are forgotten of the foot that passeth by. They hang afar from men, they swing to and fro. As for the earth, out of it cometh bread, and under it is turned up as it were by fire. The stones thereof are the places of sapphires, and it hath dust of gold. That path no bird of prey knoweth, neither hath the falcon's eye seen it. The proud beasts have not trodden it, nor hath the lion passed thereby. He putteth forth his hand upon the flinty rock, he overturneth the mountains by the roots. He cutteth out channels among the rocks, and his eye seeth every precious thing. He bindeth the streams that they trickle not, and the thing that is hid bringeth he forth to light. But wisdom, where shall it be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The deep saith, It is not in me, and the sea saith, It is not with me. It cannot be gotten for gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof. It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir, with the precious sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it, neither shall the exchange thereof be vessels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of crystal, yea, the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. Whence then cometh wisdom, and where is the place of understanding? Seeing it is hid from the eyes of all living, and kept close from the fowls of the air. Destruction and death say, We have heard a rumor thereof with our ears. God understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof, for he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven, when he maketh a weight for the wind, and metteth out the waters by measure. When he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the storm of thunders, then did he see it, and declare it. He established it, yea, he searched it out. And unto man he said, Behold the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding.
And Job again took up his parable, and said,
Oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shined above my head, and by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in the days of my youth, when the converse of God was upon my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were about me, when my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil. When I went forth to the gate unto the city, when I prepared my seat in the broad place, the young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged rose up and stood. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. For when the ear heard me, then it blessed me, and when the eye saw me, it gave witness unto me. Because I delivered the poor that cried, the fatherless also that had none to help him. The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed itself with me. My justice was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. I was a father to the needy, and the cause of him that I knew not I searched out. And I broke the jaws of the unrighteous, and plucked the prey out of his teeth. Then I said, I shall die with my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the phoenix. My root shall be spread out to the waters, and the dew shall lie all night upon my branch. My glory shall be fresh in me, and my bow shall be renewed in my hand. Unto me men gave ear, and waited, and kept silence for my counsel. After my words they spoke not again, and my speech dropped upon them. And they waited for me as the rain, and they opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain. If I laughed on them, they believed it not, and the light of my countenance they cast not down. If I chose out their way, and sat as chief, and dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforteth the mourners. But now that they are younger, then I have in me in derision, whose fathers I disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, the strength of my hands, whereto should it profit me? men in whom ripe age is perished. They are gaunt and want and famine. They gnaw the dry ground in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. They pluck saltworth with wormwood, and the roots of the broom are their food. They are driven forth from the midst of men. They cry after them as a thief. In the clefts of the valleys must they dwell, in holes of the earth and of the rocks. Among the bushes they bray, under the nettles they are gathered together. They are children of curls, yea, children of ignoble men. They were scoured out of the land. And now I am become their song, yea, I am a byword unto them. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. For he hath loosened my cord, and afflicted me, and they have cast off the bridle before me. Upon my right hand rise the broad, they entangle my feet, and they cast up against me their ways of destruction. They break up my path, they further my calamity, even men that have no helper. And through a wide breach they came, in the midst of the ruin they roll themselves upon me. Terrors are turned upon me, they chase mine horror as the wind, and my welfare is passed away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me, days of affliction have taken hold upon me. In the night my bones are pierced and fall from me, and my sinews take no rest. By the great force of my disease is my garment disfigured, it bindeth me about as the collar of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire, and I am become like dust and ashes. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not answer me. I stand up, and thou lookest at me. Thou art turned to be cruel to me, with the might of the hand thou hast lied upon me. Thou liftest me up to the wind, thou castest me to ride upon it, and thou dissolvest my substance. For I know that thou wilt bring me to death, into the house appointed for all living. Surely none shall put forth his hand to a ruinous heap, neither because of these things shall help come in one's calamity. If I have not wept for him that was in trouble, and if my soul grieved not for the needy, yet when I looked for good there came evil, and when I waited for light there came darkness. Mine inwards boil and rest not, days of affliction are come upon me. I go mourning without the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I am become a brother to jackals and a companion to ostriches. My skin is black and falleth from me, and my bones are burned with heat. Therefore is my heart turned to mourning, and my pipe into the voice of them that weep. I made a covenant with mine eyes, but then should I look upon a maid? For what would be the portion of God from above, and the heritage of the Almighty from on high? Is it not calamity to the unrighteous, and disaster to the workers of iniquity? Doth not he see my ways, and count all my steps? If I have walked with vanity, and my foot hath to deceit, let me be weighed in a just balance, that God may know my integrity. If my step hath turned out of the way, and my heart walked after mine eyes, and if any spot hath cleaved to my hands, then let me sow, and let another eat. Yea, let the produce of my field be rotted out. If my heart have been enticed unto a woman, and I have lain in wait at my neighbor's door, then let my wife grind unto another, and let others bow down upon her. For that were a heinous crime, yea, it were an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumeth unto destruction, and would root out all mine increase. If I did despise the cause of my manservant, or of my maidservant, when they contended with me, what then shall I do when God riseth up? And when he remembereth, what shall I answer him? Did he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I had withheld aught that the poor desired, would have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel myself alone, and the fatherless had not eaten thereof. Nay, from my youth he grew up as me as a father, and I have been a guide from my mother's womb. If I have seen any wanderer in want of clothing, or that the needy had no covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up mine hand against the fatherless, because I saw my help in the gate, then let my shoulder fall from the shoulder blade, and my arm be broken from the bone. For calamity from God was a terror to me, and by reason of his majesty I do nothing. If I have made gold my hope, said to the gold, thou art my confidence. If I rejoice because my wealth is great, because my hand have gotten much. If I beheld the sun with sunshine, moon walking in brightness, and my heart hath secretly enticed, and my mouth hath kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For I should have lied to God that is above. If I rejoiced at the destruction of him that hated me, or exalted in evil found him, yea, I suffered not my mouth to sin by asking his life with a curse. If the men of my tent said, who can find one that hath not been satisfied with his meat? The stranger did not lodge in the street. My doors I opened to the roadside. If after the manner of men I covered my transgressions by hiding mine iniquity in my bosom, because I feared the great multitude, and the most contemptible among families terrified me, so that I kept silence and went not out of the door. Oh, that I had one to hear me. Lo, here is my signature. Let the Almighty answer me, and that I had the indictment which mine adversary hath written. Surely I would carry it upon my shoulder. I would bind it unto me as a crown. I would declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince would I go near unto him. If my land cry out against me, and the furrows thereof weep together, if I have eaten the fruits thereof without money, or have caused the tillers thereof to be disappointed, let thistles grow instead of wheat, and weeds instead of barley.
The words of Job are ended. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu, the son of Barachel the Buzite, of the family of Ram. Against Job was his wrath kindled, because he justified himself rather than God. Also against his three friends was his wrath kindled, because they had found no answer, and yet had condemned Job. Now Elihu had waited to speak unto Job, because they were older than he. And when Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, his wrath was kindled. And Elihu, the son of Barachel, the Buzite, answered and said, I am young, and ye are old. Wherefore I held back, and durst not declare you mine opinion. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But it is a spirit in man, and the breath of the Almighty, that giveth them understanding. It is not the great that are wise, nor the aged that discern judgment. Therefore I say, hearken to me, I also will declare mine opinion. Behold, I waited for your words, I listened for your reason, whilst ye searched out what to say. Yea, I attended unto you, and behold, there was none that convinced Job, or that answered his words among you. Be aware, lest ye say, we have found wisdom, God may vanquish him, not man. For he hath not directed his words against me, neither will I answer him with your speeches. They are amazed, they answer no more, words are departed from them. And shall I wait because they speak not, because they stand still and answer no more? I also will answer my part, I also will declare mine opinion. For I am full of words, the spirit within me constraineth me. Behold, mine inwards are as wine which hath no vent, like new wineskins which are ready to burst. I will speak that I may find relief. I will open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray you, respect any man's person, neither will I give flattering titles unto any man, for I know not to give flattering titles, else would my Maker soon take me away.
Howbeit, Job, I pray thee, hear my speech, and hearken to all my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth, my tongue hath spoken in my mouth. My words shall utter the uprightness of my heart, and that which my lips know they shall speak sincerely. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty have given me life. If thou canst, answer thou me, and set thy words in order before me. Stand forth. Behold, I am God. Before I am toward God, even as thou art, I also am formed out of the clay. Behold, my terror shall not make thee afraid, neither shall my pressure be heavy upon thee. Surely thou hast spoken in my hearing, and I have heard the voice of thy words. I am clean without transgression, I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. Behold, he findeth occasions against me, he counteth me for his enemy. He putteth my feet in the stocks, and marketh all my paths. Behold, I answer thee, and this thou art not right, that God is too great for man. Why hast thou striven against him, seeing that he will not answer any of his words? For God speaketh in one way, yea, in two, though man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and by their chastisement sealeth the decree, that men may put away their purpose, and that he may hide pride from man, that he may keep back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. He is chastened also with pain upon his bed, and all of his bones grow stiff, so that his life maketh him to abhor bread, and his soul dainty food. His flesh is consumed away, that it cannot be seen, and his bones corrode to unsightliness. Yea, his soul draweth near unto the pit, and his life to the destroyers. If there be for him an angel, an intercessor, among 1,000 to vouch for a man's uprightness, then he is gracious unto him, and saith, Deliver him from what is going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh is tenderer than a child's. He returneth to the days of his youth. He prayeth unto God, and is favorable unto him, so that he seeth his face with joy, and he restoreth unto man his righteousness. He cometh before man, and saith, I have sinned, and perverted that which was right, and it profited me not. So he redeemed his soul from going into the pit, and his life beholdeth the light. Lo, all these things doth God work, twice, yea, thrice, with a man, to bring back his soul from the pit, that he may be enlightened with the light of the living. Mark well, O Job, hearken unto me, hold thy peace, and I will speak. If thou hast anything to say, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify thee. If not, hearken thou unto me, hold thy peace, and I will teach thee wisdom.
Moreover, Elihu answered and said,
Hear my words, ye wise men, and give unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear trieth words as the palate tasteth food. Let us choose for us which is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I am righteous, and God hath taken away my right. Notwithstanding my right, I'm accounted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water, who goeth in company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men? For he hath said, It profiteth a man nothing that he should be in accord with God. Therefore, hearken unto me, ye men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of man will he requite unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, of a surety, God will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert justice. Who gave him a charge over the earth, or who hath disposed the whole world? If he set his heart upon man, if he gather unto himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh shall perish together, and man shall return unto dust. If now thou hast understanding, hear this, hearken to the voice of my words. Shall even one that hateth right govern? And wilt thou condemn him that is just and mighty? Is it fit to say to a king, Thou art base, or to nobles, Ye are wicked? That respecteth not the persons of princes, nor regardeth the rich more than the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. In a moment they die, even at midnight the people are shaken and pass away, and the mighty are taken away without hand. For his eyes are upon the ways of men, and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness nor shadow of death where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For doth not appoint a time unto any man when he should go before God in judgment. He breaketh in pieces mighty men without inquisition, and setteth others in their stead. Therefore he taketh knowledge of their works, and he overturneth them in the night, so that they are crushed. He striketh them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned aside from following him, and would not have regard to any of his ways, so that they cause the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heareth the cry of the afflicted. When he giveth quietness, then who then can condemn? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be unto a nation or unto a man alike, that the godless man reign not, that there can be none to ensnare the people. For hath any said unto God, I have borne chastisement, though I offend not? That which I see not, teach me thou. If I have done iniquity, will I do it no more? Shall his recompense be as thou wilt? For thou loathest, and so that must choose, and not I. Therefore I speak what thou knowest. Men of understanding will say unto me, Yea, every wise man that heareth me. Job speaketh without knowledge, and his words are without discernment. Would that Job were tried unto end because of his answering like wicked men. For he addeth rebellion unto his sin, he clappeth his hands among us, and multiplieth his words against God.
Moreover, Elihu answered and said,
Thinkest thou to be thy right, or sayest thou, I am righteous before God? That thou inquirest, what advantage will be unto thee, and what profit shall I have more than had I sinned? I will give thee answer in thy companions with thee. Look into the heavens and see, and behold the skies which are higher than thou. If thou hast sinned, what hast thou against him? And if thy transgressions be multiplied, what dost thou unto him? If thou be righteous, what givest thou him, or what receiveth he of thy hand? Thy wickedness concerneth a man as thou art, and thy righteousness a son of man. By reason of the multitude of oppressions they cry out. They cry for help by reason of the arm of the Almighty. But none saith, Where is my Maker, who giveth songs in the night, who teacheth us more than beasts of the earth, and the Maker of us wiser than the fowls of heaven? There they cry, but none giveth answer, because the pride of evil men. Surely God will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. Yea, when thou sayest thou canst see him, the cause is before him, therefore wait thou for him. And now is it for naught that he punished in his anger? And hath he not full knowledge of arrogance? But Job doth open his mouth in vanity, he multiplieth words without knowledge.
Elihu also proceeded and said,
Suffer me a little, and I will tell thee, for there are yet words on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and I will ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One that is upright in mind is with thee. Behold, God is mighty, yet he despiseth not any. He is mighty in strength of understanding. He preserveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth the poor their right. He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings upon the throne he setteth them forever, and they are exalted. And if they be bound in fetters, and be holden in cords of affliction, then he declareth them unto them their work and their transgressions, that they behave themselves proudly. He openeth also their ear to discipline, and commandeth that they return from iniquity. If they hearken and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity, and their years in pleasures. But they hearken not, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. But they that are godless in heart lay up in anger, they cry not for help when he bindeth them. Their soul perisheth in youth, and their life as that of the depraved. He delivereth the afflicted by his affliction, and openeth their ear by tribulation. Yea, he hath allured thee out of distress into a broad place, where there is no straightness, and that which is set on thy table is full of fatness, and thou art full of the judgment of the wicked. Judgment and justice take hold of them. For beware of wrath, lest thou be led away by thy sufficiency, neither let the greatness of the ransom turn thee aside. Will thy riches avail that are without stint, or all the forces of thy strength? Desire not the night when people are cut off in their place. Take heed, regard not iniquity, for hast thou chosen rather than affliction? Behold, God doeth loftily in his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has enjoined him in his way? Or who hath said, Thou hast wrought unrighteousness? Remember that thou magnify his work, whereof men have sung. All men looked thereon, man beholdeth it far off. Behold, God is great beyond our knowledge. The number of his years is unsearchable, for he draweth away the drops of water, which distill rain from his vapor. which the skies pour down and drop upon the multitudes of men. Yea, can any understand the spreading the clouds, the crashings of his pavilion? Behold, he spreadeth his light upon it, and he covereth the depths of the sea. For by these he judgeth the peoples, he giveth food in abundance. He covereth his hands with the lighting, and giveth a charge that it strike the mark. The noise thereof telleth concerning it, the cattle also concerning the storm that cometh up. At this also my heart trembleth, and is moved out of place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He sendeth it forth under the whole of heaven, and his lighting unto the ends of the earth. After it a voice roareth, he thundereth with the voice of his majesty, and he stayeth them not when his voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, Fall thou on the earth, likewise to the shower of rain, and to the showers of his mighty rain. He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men whom he hath made may know it. Then the beasts go into coverts, and remain in their dens. Out of the chamber cometh the storm, and the cold out of the north. By the breath of God ice is given, and by the breath of the waters is straitened. Yea, he ladeth the thick cloud with moisture, and he spreadeth abroad the cloud his lightning. And they are turned round by his guidance, and they may do whatsoever he commandeth them upon the face of the habitable world. Whether it be for correction, or for his earth, or for mercy that he cause it to come, hearken unto this, O Job. Stand still, and consider the wondrous works of God. Dost thou know how God enjoineth them, and causeth the lightning of his cloud to shine? Dost thou know the balancing of the clouds, the wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge? Thou whose garments are warm when the earth is still reason of the south wind, canst thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong as a molten mirror? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Shall it be told to him that I would speak? Or should a man wish that he were swallowed up? And now men see not the light which is bright in the skies, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Out of the north cometh golden splendor, about God is terrible majesty. The Almighty, of whom we cannot find out, is excellent in power, yet judgment and plenteous justice he doeth no violence. Men do therefore fear him. He regardeth not that any are. Men do therefore fear him. He regardeth not any that are wise of heart.
Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast the understanding. Who determined the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who stretched the line upon it? Whereupon were the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors when it broke forth and issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and described for it my decree, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days began, and caused the dayspring to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? It is changed as clay under the seal, and they stand as a garment. But from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm is broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Or hast thou walked into the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed unto thee? Or hast thou seen the gates of the shadow of death? Hast thou surveyed unto the breadths of the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all. Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the path to the house thereof? Thou knowest it, for thou wast then born, and the number of thy days is great. Hast thou entered the treasuries of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasuries of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, or the east wind scattered upon the earth? Who hath cleft a channel for the water flood, or a way for the lightning of the thunder? To cause it to rain on a land where no man is, on the wilderness wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? Hath the rain a father? Or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice and the hoar frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are congealed like stone. The face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the chains of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season, or canst thou guide the bear with her sons? Knowest thou ordinances of the heavens? Canst thou establish the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send forth lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the mind? Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Who can pour out the bottles of heaven, when the dust runneth into a mass, and the clods cleave fast together? Wilt thou hunt the prey for the lioness, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions, when they couch in their dens and abide in the covert to lie in wait? Who provideth for the raven his prey, when his young ones cry unto God and wander for lack of food? Knowest the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth? Or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill? Or knowest the time when they bring forth? They bow themselves, they bring forth their young, they cast out their fruit. Their young ones wax strong. They grow up in the open field. They go forth and return not again. Who hath sent out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house I have made the wilderness, and the salt land his dwelling place. He scorneth the tumult of the city, neither heareth he the shoutings of the driver. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing. Will the wild ox be willing to serve thee? Or will he abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the wild ox with his band in the furrow? Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him, because his strength is great? Or wilt thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou rely on him, that he will bring home thy seed, and gather the corn of thy threshing floor? The wing of the ostrich beateth joyously, but are her pinions and feathers the kindly stork's? For she leaveth her eggs on the earth, and warmeth them in dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may trample them. She is hardened against her young ones, as if they were not hers. Though her labor be in vain, she is without fear. Because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. When the time cometh, she raises her wings on high, and scorneth the house and his rider. Hast thou given the horse his strength? Hast thou clothed his neck with fierceness? Hast thou made him to leap as a locust? The glory of his snorting is terrible. He paweth in the valley, and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth out to meet the clash of arms. He mocketh at fear, and is not affrighted, neither turneth me back from the sword. The quiver rattleth upon him, the glittering spear and the javelin. He swalloweth the ground with storm and rage, neither believeth he that is the voice of the horn. As oft as he heareth the horn, he saith, Ha ha! And he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Doth the hawk soar by thy wisdom, and stretch her wings towards the south? Doth the vulture mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, in the stronghold. From thence she spieth out the prey, her eyes behold it afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there she is. Moreover, the Lord answered Job, and said, Shall he that reproveth contend with the Almighty. He that argueth with God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said,
Behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer thee? I lay my hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer again. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further.
Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou even make void my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me that thou mayest be justified? Or hast thou an arm like God? And canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and look upon every one that is proud, and abase him. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, bind their faces in the hidden place. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the stays of his body. He straineth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are as pipes of brass. His gristles are like bars of iron. He is the beginning of the ways of God. He only that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountain brings him forth food, and all the beasts of the field play there. He lieth under the lotus trees, in the covert of the reed and fens. The lotus trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, if a river overflow, he trembleth not. He is confident, though the Jordan rush forth to his mouth. Shall any take him by his eyes, or pierce through his nose with a snare? Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Canst thou put a ring into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a hook? Will he make many supplications unto thee, or will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee, that thou shouldest take him for a servant forever? And wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Will the bands of fishermen make a banquet of him? Will they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or is his head with fish spears? Lay thy hand upon him, think upon the battle, thou wilt do so no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? One hath given me anything beforehand that I should repay him. Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. Would I keep silence concerning his boastings, or his proud talk, or his fair array of words? Who can uncover the face of his garment? Who shall come within his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? Round about his teeth is terror. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning torches, and sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot, and burning rushes. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck a bite of strength, and dismay danceth before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together, they are firm upon him. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, firm as their nether millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid. By reason of despair they are beside themselves. If one lay at him with the sword, it will not hold, nor the spear, the dart, nor the pointed shaft. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. The slingstones are turned with him into stubble. Clubs are accounted as stubble. He laugheth at the rattling of the javelin. Sharpest potsherds are under him. He spreadeth a threshing sledge upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a plot. He maketh the sea like a seething mixture. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made to be fearless. He looketh at all high things. He is king over all the proud beasts. Then Job answered the Lord and said,
I know that thou canst do everything, and that no purpose can be withholden from thee. Who is this that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that which I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eyes seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor my words, and repent, seeing I am dust and ashes.
And it was so, that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has. Now therefore take unto you 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, that I do not unto you aught unseemly. For ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them. And the Lord accepted Job. And the Lord changed the fortune of Job when he prayed for his friends. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and comforted him concerning all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one a ring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, and he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. He called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen-Happuch. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. And after this Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days.